Hello everyone, my name is Ernest and you are watching V Concept College English. Today I want us to pick on the fourth out of our 10 videos on our Lessons and Structures series entitled 100 Commonly Misused Words Used in White, NECO and JAMB Lessons and Structure. We have been on this series now and today we shall be considering the part 4 of it. And it captures words number 31 to 40. 31 is found, founded, founded. 32 is forward, forward. 33, reword, reword. 34, assent, assent, assent. 35, sympathy, empathy. 36, content, contents. 37, capital, corporal punishment. 38, murder, manslaughter, suicide. 39, asylum, amnesty. And then number 40, we have stationary, stationary. These words are highly conflicting words, okay? The conflict between them lies in the fact that many of them are homophones, sound alike. If you look at found, founded, funded, you see that there is a relationship between the sound of the two words. And if you look at forward and forward, they also sound alike. Reword and reword. And especially this number 34, which is assent, assent, assent. So when you are using these words, you have to be very clear with your context. That is, with what you are trying to say. Otherwise, your listener would not get your message very clearly. Another one is like content and contents. The only difference between these two now is the S. If you have a previous knowledge of them, you will be sure to do very well with them in the exam. Okay? And beyond the examination experience, they will equally help you in your everyday English. Yes, if you understand this word, especially if you have interest in writing, then you're going to be sure to pick your words correctly. That is, anytime you pick your pen to write, then people are going to be sure that you know your choice of words and the right words that should go into the right context. So that is that. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to be emphasizing the relevance of these words in WAEC, NECO, and JAMB examinations, as we shall be explaining them, and then we'll try to use them in expressions, talking about their usage, and then we'll consider their appearance in past questions. Let's speak on the first one, which is number 31, found, founded, funded. All right. Now, the first thing we need to establish with these words is that they are verbs. Let's have that one here, verbs. These are verbs. When you want to approach words in English, the first thing you need to know is what class of words are they? That is, the word I want to use now, is it a verb? Is it a noun, or is it an adjective or adverb? It is very important if you want to have a clear distinction or a good knowledge of how to use words in English. These words are verbs in their past tense form. The first one is coming from the word find. Now, to begin with, found is the past tense of find, which means to discover the identity of something. So we can start that one from here. Found, the past tense of find, which means to discover the identity of something. The second word is founded. It is the past tense of another verb, which means to establish something. The third one is funded. Funded is the past tense of fund, which means to provide money for a particular purpose. So this is what we have. Found is the past tense of find, okay, which means to discover the identity of something or of someone which had been missing. Founded, it is the past tense of another word or another verb, which means to establish something. Then funded, the past tense of fund, which means to provide money for a particular purpose. So this is what you must know about these verbs. Now, many students get confused with the use of found and found. It is just a phenomenon in English, and you don't have to fight it, but you just try to understand it. Found, which is the past tense of find, can be used to say something different in the present. That is the confusion here. Now, usage. What I want to do is to use the three of them together in one sentence, and let us see the structure of that sentence. That is how the sentence is going to look. I can say something like, now this is what I have. The man who found gold on his land has founded a goldsmithing company and funded by the government. I think this sentence has been able to capture the three words. The man who found gold on his land has founded a goldsmithing company and funded by the government. This means the man discovered gold on his plot of land, and then he decided to establish a goldsmithing company, that is, founded a goldsmithing company and got money, okay, for that purpose from the government, that is, and funded by the government. Now, let's move forward and look at how these words appear in past questions. JAM 2006. The clubs will not dash on a solid ethical base. A, funded. B, found. C, created. D, founded. If you look at this question very closely, you realize that it is not a case of find, found, which implies to discover something that is missing. So this is not a situation like that. What about a case of what? Found, founded, found. Let's suspect it. Then you can also ask yourself, if it's not a case of find, found, then B will go. Then you say the clubs were not created. You don't have to create clubs on any ethical base. So C will go. So you're left with founded and funded. The next thing you ask yourself is this a case of providing money for the club or establishing the club? This is a case of establishing the club. So if it is a case of establishing the club, then funded will not apply. You can cross it off. And then at the end of the day, you take D. So the sentence can read, the clubs were not founded on a solid ethical base. That is, the club was not well established, or the club was not well formed. We move forward to item number 32. Okay? Item 32 on our list. And that is forward and forward. Let's look at the first one. Forward is an adjective. It means in front of or ahead. Talking about the second word, we have forward. Forward is a noun because it refers to something. It is used to refer to the beginning of a book, just like the introduction to a book. Let's look at how to use these words. Usage. Now, talking about the usage, I want to look for a way to use these two words in three ways. That is by using this one in two ways. Now this is what we have. I hope I'm not being too forward by asking you to write the foreword for my upcoming book, which I hope to forward to you. Now let's analyze it, okay? I hope I'm not being too forward. This too forward here is used as an adjective. Those words like so, too, very, they always what? Pre-modify an adjective. So being too forward. So it is used as an adjective here. Forward is used as an adjective here. By asking you to write the foreword, fine. I hope this one is very clear here. It doesn't need much explanation. Okay, we said foreword is the beginning of a book, much like an introduction to a book. So write the foreword for my upcoming book, which I hope to forward to you. To forward. Now, any word that comes after to is a verb. To forward. That is, even if you don't understand it in any other way, just try to know that. If I say to know, to look, to move, to fight, to eat, to sleep. So any word that follows to in an expression is a verb. So here we have used the two words in three ways. So this is how to use these words in expressions. Let's now move forward and look at their appearance in past questions. The dash part of a new book is often written by a more experienced writer than the author. A. Foreword. Okay, I think I can just pronounce this one like that, although this word is a bad spelling. It's not the correct spelling of what you expect to see. Foreword. This is a good spelling, and this is the correct option. Going by our explanation, we established that foreword is the beginning of a book. So the dash part of a book, once you hear a new book, automatically you know they're going to be talking about foreword. Another thing I want to explain finally about these words, especially this very one. Try to note this part of the word. For. It's a prefix. For. For. For means before. For means before. Okay? So if you say for, that is initial. In other words, you can call forward initial word. Initial word. Okay, I think it's better put as initial. So for means initial. So if you have that understanding, you know that this is the beginning part of the text that you normally have in a textbook. So that is that on forward and forward. We shall now move on to the 33rd item, that's number 33, which is reword and reword. Number 33, reword, reword. Now, reword, this very word can serve as what? A noun. It can serve as a noun. And then reword again can serve as what? A verb. Reword in the same way, reword is essentially a verb. Then any of this word that you want to convert to adjective, you just add ed, okay, to them. So if I say something like rewarded, 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 you can see one thing with the words. This rewarded that you see now is a verb, fine. Yes, we know that. That is, if you have something like reward, then you're going to have rewarded. You're going to have rewarded as a past participle, fine. Do you know that this past tense form of the word is what you are going to what? Use as an adjective. How are you going to use it as an adjective? If you have rewarded now, I can say the rewarded student. Let me put it, we are just trying to preempt ourselves. The rewarded, if I say something like the rewarded student, the rewarded student. Once you see the article D standing before the word rewarded, it's no longer serving as a verb in this expression. It is now a qualifier of this noun, student. Okay? And once it is now serving to qualify the word student, it becomes an adjective. Becomes an adjective. So this is one operations with words. And what type of word are we going to call this in English? We'll call a participle. Okay, when you have a participle verb, it usually works as an adjective. A participle. Most participle verbs usually work as adjective, especially if they are used before what? Nouns in expressions. Okay, so if you have the rewarded student, this rewarded, although it's the verb form of reward, is no longer serving as a verb, but now standing as what? An adjective. And it is called a participle verb. Participle verb can usually stand before nouns in expressions, okay, to qualify those expressions. And then another thing I want to quickly, give to you here is that adjective can serve two functions in expressions. An adjective, when you have an adjective in an expression, okay, it's either it is standing as a qualifier, it's either it is standing as what? A qualifier, or it is standing as a modifier. It's either standing as a qualifier or standing as a modifier. An adjective is standing as a qualifier if it comes before the noun. Before the noun. But an adjective will work as a modifier if it comes after the noun. If it comes after the noun. Whenever an adjective is standing as a qualifier, we call it attributive adjective. So the first case there, if I have to do this thing to come to the back here, the first case there is called attributive adjective. And then, if an adjective has to stand after a noun, it is going to be working as a modifier. Then in that case, it's called a predicative adjective. A predicative adjective. Okay? I do not intend to go this deep with our approach, okay, to these words, although it's needful, but we just try to do a short play around with the word reward. How it can be used as a noun, it can be used as a verb, and then how you can also use it as an adjective, and I hope you understand. So now let's get back to our gist. Reward, when it is used as a noun, okay, and as a verb, it means to give something as a gift, to give something as a gift. And the process of giving it to the person, you can tag it reward, which is the verb form. Reward means to change the word in an expression. So if you have a statement written and you try to edit it or rewrite it, then you are rewarding it. You are rewarding. That reward is you are going to have ing towards the end of this word. So the process of rewriting or rearranging words and expressions is rewarded. So that's the difference between reward and reward. Okay? Now let's just go straight to their appearance in past questions. WAEC 2004, nearest in meaning, that is synonym. The government has approved a new salary structure as an incentive for workers. A reward. B, an encouragement. C, a package. D, an advance. A package is too low here, is a casual expression, okay? Colloquial expression. So we don't need it in this expression. Then the next one we're going to have is what? Advance. An advance is something like a loan. So if the government has approved a new salary structure, that is like has increased salary for workers, is it going to be an encouragement, or that is, we're looking for a word that is nearest in meaning to incentive. Is it an encouragement or a reward? It is a reward, that is as a gift. So that is that on reward and reward. We shall now move forward to words number 34. Assent, assent, assent. Now this list is very interesting because they are perfect homophones. So here we have assent, assent, assent. You can hear the way the words sound. First of all, let's establish that these words are what? Are nouns. The three words are nouns. Now, let's look at them very closely. The first one is assent. This one means an upward movement. And let's consider the second one, assent, that is ASS. The one spelled with ASSENT. This one is a sort of agreement, a sort of approval or agreement. Then the next one, ACC, a distinctive way of pronouncing a language. Usage. Now, the sentence reads, Parliament gave its assent to war and with a clear assent asked the army to ascend the hills. What are we trying to bring out here? The three words have been captured in this expression. Parliament, that's the government, gave its consent. These words can also stand as what? Consent. Okay? Parliament gave its consent to war. Has gave its approval to war. Assent, ASS. And with a clear assent, that is clear tone. So for this one, you can say it is tone. And with a clear tone, ask the army to ascend the hill. That is, to move up the hills and what? Attack the enemy. So Parliament gave its assent to war and with a clear assent asked the army to ascend the hills. So let's move forward to the occurrence of these words in past questions. JAMB 1986. The committee was frustrated because the chief withheld his dash. A. Assent. B. Access. C. Assent. D. Assent. So if you go by our explanation here, the only option that is correct here is assent, which is consent. The next words on our list are sympathy and empathy. That is item number 35. Okay? These two words are relatively easy to understand. First of all, the two words are nouns. Okay? That is talking about empathy and what? Sympathy and empathy. Now, what's the meaning of sympathy? Sympathy, feeling pity for the hardship that another person is going through. Good. Then what about empathy? Empathy is the same as sympathy, but it usually goes beyond sympathy. Like, not just feeling pity for what someone is going through, but you try to put yourself in their shoes to feel what they feel. Okay? That is. So you can see how empathy goes a little deeper than what? Sympathy. Sympathy is just to feel for people and then you go your own way. But when you're not trying to feel for people and put yourself in their shoe to feel what they feel, then you are empathizing. Let's see how we can use this word. Sympathy says, I care about you, just on the surface. Empathy says, I am hurting with you. I'm hurting with you. So this is how you can talk about these words. Now let's look at their occurrence in past questions. WAEC 2017, nearest in meaning. So we're looking for an option that is nearest in meaning to condolences. On the death of her father, friends went to express their condolences. A. Sympathy. B. Pity. C. Concerns. D. Worries. Okay, friends cannot go and express their worries, okay, to someone that has just lost a father. Then friends cannot also go to express concern. To express concern means to complain, something of that nature. So we only have two words here that can apply to this context, like sympathy and pity. Sympathy is deeper than what? Than pity. Okay? So we are going to consider what? To express their sympathy. That's why sometimes when someone has lost their father, you can just go to them and say, accept my sympathy. It's correct to say that. Okay? Accept my sympathy. You cannot go to those people and say to them, accept my pity. No. With that, we move on to the next item, which is item number 36. Content/contents. Now, if you look at these two words very well, first of all, they are nouns. Let us establish that. Then the next thing is that it is still the same word that we're talking about here. But the only thing is that here we're trying to say it is uncountable. That is, it doesn't take the plural form, and here it takes plural form. When content is used as uncountable noun, that is, in a situation where it cannot be made plural, all right, it refers to what? Ideas or the subject matter of something. What about when content is used in its plural form? When content is used in its plural form, it refers to things in a container or the sections in a book. So we have said that content used as what? Uncountable noun. In a situation where it doesn't take S, it refers to the ideas or the subject matter of something put together as a whole. While contents, when it is made plural, refers to things in a container or the sections in a book. Now, let's look at the usage. Now it reads, the content of the president's speech is part of the contents of today's editorial. What are we trying to say here? The content that is used as uncountable noun without S, the content of the president's speech, that is the overall idea of the president's speech, that is the subject matter of the president's speech is part of the contents of today's editorial. The content of today's materials refer to the elements in the editorial. So the elements in editorial, you are going to make this one plural. Editorial is what is written by the editor, usually the introductory section of a magazine or newspaper. So we have Jan 1978, synonym. The leader in today's issue of our popular newspaper focuses on inflation. A, president. B, headline. C, editorial. D, columnist. E, proprietor. If you look at what we have explained, it is not president and it is not headline, but what? Editorial. That is the caption of a particular newspaper, of a particular issue of a newspaper is editorial. So that is that on content and contents. So we shall now move on to item 37, capital/corporal punishment. Just phrases in English, that's number one. Then number two, there are some sorts of punishment that are meted out to offenders, but at different capacities. Capital punishment usually results in the death of the offender, while corporal punishment is the opposite. It doesn't result in the death of the offender, but may only inflict wounds and injuries or cause harm to the offender. So let us see what we have. So, capital punishment results in the death of the offender, while corporal punishment does not result in the death of the offender, but may inflict injuries and also cause what? Harm. Murder, manslaughter, suicide. These three words express the case of killing someone. All right? Now, when we use murder, this is the unlawful killing of someone. Then what about manslaughter? It is the crime of killing someone without previous malice. That is accidental killing of a human being. Then the third one, suicide. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. Murder is the unlawful killing of what? Someone. The unlawful killing of someone with previous malice. The manslaughter is accidental killing of a human being. That's manslaughter. That's when you kill someone by what? Accident, without planning to what? To kill that person beforehand. Then suicide is what? Causing one's own death. NECO 2001. The driver inadvertently killed a man in an auto crash and was consequently convicted of dash: A. Assassination, B. Executive, C. Manslaughter, D. Murder, E. Suicide. Now, going by our explanation of the three words, take notes. The driver inadvertently. Inadvertently is mistakenly. Inadvertently is another word that means what? Mistakenly. So, if the driver killed someone mistakenly, from our explanation, the correct answer is what? Manslaughter. That is, the driver killed the person without planning previously to kill that person. So it's not murder. Murder is if he plans to kill the person previously. While suicide is if the driver killed himself, but that's not the case in our question. So the answer is manslaughter. We move on to the next item on our list, which is item 39, asylum/amnesty. These two words are the provisions of the government and the government only. What is the meaning of asylum? Asylum is a form of protection which allows an individual to remain in a foreign country when he fears persecution or harm. Then what's the meaning of amnesty? Amnesty is a general pardon for offenses, especially political offenses. Asylum is a form of protection which allows an individual to remain in a foreign country when he or she fears persecution or harm. While amnesty is a general pardon for offenses, especially political offenses. WAEC 2021. The governor granted the political prisoner dash: A. Asylum, B. Acquittal, C. Amnesty, D. Bail. Good. So going by explanation of the words, okay, you can easily see that it's not a case of someone taking protection under a foreign country. So asylum can go, and correct answer is what? Amnesty. That's the answer. Amnesty. So we can move on now to our final item on the list, which is stationary/stationary. The one spelled with A and the one spelled with E. Stationary is spelled with A for something to be what? Immobile. That is the meaning of stationary with what? With A. What about stationary with E? Stationary with E refers to what? So stationary with A means something is fixed or unchanging, while stationary with E refers to writing implement. Now let's look at what we have, okay? That is an expression that captures the two words. The stationery used for writing, so here you underline stationery. That is the items or the implement used for writing, and not necessary at the gym where you need the stationary bike to spin its wheels. Stationary bike, that is fixed bike. Another thing that I want you to know about this word is that it doesn't take plural. So it is an uncountable noun. So the idea of expecting to have stationaries does not exist. So there's nothing like what stationaries. Anytime the word is used as an uncountable noun, does not take S. So you have stationary. Now, let's look at the appearance of these words in past questions. WAEC 2017, synonym. That is to look for a word that is nearest in meaning to exhausted. Our stationary supplies are exhausted. Okay? Completed, finished, consumed, destroyed. Alright? So, your stationary supplies, that's the paper, envelope, and what have you, writing, implement, do they have to be destroyed? No. Do they have to be consumed, like with fire? No. Do they have to be finished or they have to be completed? They have to be what? Finished. If they are exhausted, then it means they are finished. So correct answer is option B. So that is that today on part 4.